Hi, thanks so much for being here today. My name's Maria. I'm a personal trainer and a life coach, and I am managing a small company called Movement and Mindset Coaching, which is one of my absolute passions. I love to help people, particularly busy mums like myself. I love to help busy mums to really gain clarity around their health and fitness and wellness goals, and then through the coaching programs that I offer, we work to remove limiting beliefs and any other blockages that might be holding them back from achieving those goals, and also from repeating self-sabotaging patterns, for example. And once we've removed those blocks, we come up with a sustainable, healthy program that we then implement together, and over time they'll really get a major boost in transformation of not just their body, but the way they look, think and feel about themselves. So that's what I do. I'm also a mum of 2 primary school aged children, and I have a wonderful husband. So it's a fun, happy, busy life, as I'm sure I share with lots and lots of people. Today I feel very blessed to be here because I get to share with you and speak about a passion of mine. So I feel like it's a little bit self-indulgent, and it's not an obvious passion. When I was asked to speak about this, I kept thinking of all my passions. I have a lot of passions, movement and mindset coaching being a major one, but I didn't want to speak to you today about that. I wanted to speak to you about one of my first passions, and this is trees. And it's a funny sort of topic. People might be quite surprised, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but I think it really is my first true love is a tree, the tree, all trees. I just absolutely adore trees, and for so many reasons. And prior to actually working as a movement and mindset coach, I studied forestry at university and worked in the field of forestry and environmental science for well over a decade. And I've never lost that passion, and I'll never lose it. And having studied trees also just really broadened my appreciation for them that I naturally had as a child, climbing trees. I grew up in a forested area with magnificent trees around me, and I'm from Australia, so we have a very iconic eucalyptus species that occur right throughout Australia. There's hundreds of these species of different eucalypt trees, and they really are they're magnificent trees. So I grew up in these beautiful forested areas, and you couldn't help but admire the trees that formed such a major part of the landscape, the way we lived, the way we got energy, the way we warmed ourselves in those cooler climates, of course how we played as children in amongst this incredible forest. And you know, these species are ancient species, so they don't just shape us visually and in our physical environment, they affect us at an energetic level. And I thought today I'd start speaking about trees, which is what I'm speaking about. So I wanted to start with the fact that so many of these magnificent tree species that we see start from very, very, very small seeds, and some of them are so small that they are actually difficult for us to see. And some of these major tree species drop hundreds of seeds. They'll produce, and throughout their lifetime, hundreds and hundreds of seeds, and yet only a small portion of them actually survive. And that's largely because things like ants will eat them, and bugs and a whole range of other species actually predate on seeds of trees. So there they are, already providing for a whole range of other species and forming a majorly important part of our food web. And as we know, one of these little trees will lay there, and these seeds, will lay in the soil and sometimes remain dormant for many, many years and not germinate until the conditions are right. So I find this fascinating as well. A seed with all the potential of a gigantic tree or even a small tree lays dormant for quite some time until the potential is right for it to grow. And when it is right to grow, it then sprouts its roots first, and it will spend quite a lot of energy putting down roots first, and then the shoots will start to grow. And then it goes through a period of major transformation where it will be growing and competing with many other individual trees, even its brothers and sisters, and it's competing for nutrients, for energy, for light. It might be eaten, so then it has to heal and regenerate. It might not have enough sunshine on one side of it, so it needs to grow in a different way. It needs to weather storms. And it's a remarkable life for that tiny seed to actually even form a sapling or a smaller tree that we then go, oh, look, there's a tree, and look, oh, there's a regenerating tree. And then what blows me away is that tiny potential seed, in that seed was the potential for all of the stages of a tree to grow, and in effect a forest of a species, of all the species. It blows me away that that's actually held in this minute seed, this information to grow, and it has an instinctual ability just to get growing. And then throughout this little tree's life, it sees storms, it sees fire, it might get, branches might be pruned, it might see floods or ice or snow, and this tree bears those things with which it can't control, and oftentimes it will bear the scars of those events in its life, and yet it will keep growing. It heals itself over, and trees have the most unbelievably remarkable ability to heal, and some have different strengths. So some species can actually, for example, a eucalyptus tree has this incredible ability to change the cells and actually then form a branch or a piece of bark or whatever it actually needs to heal. Other species can shed branches when they need to. Other species can shed leaves in a heavy storm, and in fact, many deciduous species will actually shed their leaves and change the way they grow from season to season, making sure they're using their energy in the best way possible. And then this finally, through all these years of growth, and the growth rings are marked down in the tree, and different years there's more growth, and some years there's very little, if anything. Some trees can remain dormant for many years. And then this, it forms an actual tree and becomes the canopy, and creates, from that place as an adult tree, it can reproduce seed again. It provides shelter for numerous species. It provides if it's dropping leaves, it's providing all of this leaf litter on the ground, which is a microcosm of life that supports itself as well as those around it. It provides food and shelter, and it becomes this a life-giving force, and in fact it gives far much more than it takes at that point. So one of the things I think that are just fascinating about trees is that I just think they mirror the human in us all. I believe we're all seeded with a tiny seed of joy upon our conception. If you like to go spiritual, I believe that comes from a seed of consciousness, a seed of joy that we are of potential when we are born, and we are seeded with this. And here we are as this little baby, and we come into the world, and we instinctually start to, walk and talk, and we instinctually know to connect with other humans, and we have a lot of instincts, just like that tiny seed did. And we are born with this incredible potential. We're born with this potential to be this higher self of our soul's mission, if you want to go spiritual. And if you don't, if you just want to stay in the human field, we're born with the potential to be almost anything. We're born into this time-space reality where we've got so many opportunities. We can choose how we live our life. We can choose how we respond to what happens around us and our environment. We can choose what energy we put out into the world. And then we go through life, and as we grow, we come into a family that and an environment that effectively causes scars. It doesn't matter where or when you were born, there will be this impact, and it's normal and it's natural, and there's a conditioning process that we sort of almost toughen, and sometimes that can really change the course of our growth. As it would a tree, it might grow out in a different direction than it straight up, for example, or it might change form. It might need to branch out, and we do that as humans. We sometimes get scars, and we're wounded, or we have trauma, and of course there's a conditioning process. We grow up in a family, in a particular culture, in a place of the world where a whole range of things are happening that are outside of our control, but the child will adapt and and learn about their environment and change as they grow. And then we hit that mid-range through life, and look, we might go through a dormant period where we're not getting what we need to really grow. Those scars might have really held us back, and we might be needing to put energy into our healing before we can grow again. And we are, no matter what, however, the potential, the full potential for being who we were born to be is still there. And then, hopefully we get the skills that we make decisions in life, and we journey on, and we hopefully get the nutrients we need, the energy we need. We find people along our path to help us. We seek out like-minded people. We go within, and we find that center within and know who we truly are. And then we start to move into our later years and come up into our adult years. And if we've been on the healing journey and a personal development journey or a spiritual journey, and it's a journey, a journey to our higher self, we're then able to give, just like that adult tree. We're able to provide shelter. We're able to be compassionate to ourselves as well as to others. We're able to be a source of energy. And I just think it's so like the tree, like that adult tree. It then, it can give so much more once we find and actually develop into who we were meant to be as adults. And that's, so many reasons why I adore trees. From a purely physical perspective, they're absolutely connected to us, and we need trees as much as they need us. And then when I look at the similarities between a human life and the life of a tree, which can be several hundreds of years old, just in the physical realm, and the life of us, which is maybe around 100 years old, I think it's remarkably similar. So I hope you all have gleaned a little bit of passion about trees, and maybe you even would like to explore some of the species that are in your backyard and learn a little bit more, because each tree is different and each has a particular strength, and some of them have particular weaknesses, as we do. And then maybe even look into yourself and see how you're growing and how you're actually fulfilling your life, and how those little things have shaped who you are into the unique human that you are, just as each tree is unique. Thanks for listening. Thank you for indulging me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.